I know I'm here to stay.
Hello, Josh from Let's Talk Bikes, and on this episode we've got my race bike for this year, the KTM 450 2024 model. And as you can see, we've got some retro vibes. It's very much like the 1994 KTM. We've chucked on some purple rims just to spice it up a little bit. We're going to put it through its paces today, get a base lap time, the best I can get on this bike that's fully dialed in as reference to some other bikes that we're going to have in the future. So I'm going to show you around some things that I do to this bike to get it a little bit more dialed in. We all know 450s are an absolute monster, so getting comfortable is key, and hopefully you can pick up on a couple of things that will help you dial your ride in too. So without a doubt, the most important thing on a bike is the suspension. I've opted to stay with the standard air fork on the KTM. It's worked on by Cast Suspension, Carl Anderson. As long as you keep on top of the pressures and you go to the track, dial in some different settings, you can get really comfortable with that setup, and I don't feel like you have to spend a lot of money on different spring conversions and so on. As we go around to the shock, again, fairly standard, a little bit of valving changes internally, but the bladder conversion that just handles the heat throughout the motor just a little bit more. So yeah, minimal cost and maximum comfort. Okay, so a little change that I make that I think is a little bit out of the ordinary. I run my back brake higher than the foot peg, if you can see the angle of that. The idea there is when I'm actually pressing it, it's kind of level with the foot peg, and it just helps me keep my knees in this position over the braking bumps. You can see the amount of play, just enough to make sure it doesn't cook up on the back. But that's the reason for that, just a technique, little tweak there. So you can see we're running the HGS pipe on this bike. To be honest, there's not a lot wrong with the standard pipe. Nice and smooth. In my opinion, the HGS just broadens the power just a little bit, kind of makes it more predictable, takes away some little flat spots that you'll find. We've got an ECU on this bike as well, the Vortex, so they both match together perfectly. With all that extra power, in my opinion, you need a grippy seat cover. Some people run the bump. I've never liked that because I work around the seat quite a lot when I'm on the bike. I don't like that feeling. But the rib and this textured material really holds you in place, especially for the starts. That's the idea behind this seat cover. So as far as the controls go, I've got the 827 fat bar. A couple of reasons. I like the height of this handlebar. I like the fact that I can sweep the levers really close inwards to the handlebar, which allows me to put my hand in a different position across the grip there, which helps with my arms and the technique. The actual position of the handlebar, I kind of always go for in line with the forks and actually sweep them back a slight bit, and that enables me to turn a little bit more as well on the track. So nothing too crazy with the setup. With the tyres, I'm not super picky as long as there's a nice sharp edge, but I choose to race on the Pirelli for this year. I run mousses. I always run mousses for the racing because the risk of getting a flat, it might be slim, but that's enough to ruin your day's racing. With gearing, I've actually gone up one on the rear sprocket compared to standard. That leaves 1352, which for a 450 seems pretty crazy gearing, but it works on track. It enables me to pull third gear more, so there's less engine braking when I'm riding. It just seems a lot smoother, and it's sharp out the gate as well. So while we're down here, let's have a look at these wheels. Talon with the carbon hubs, and just to finish the look really, the purple rims really pop. We all know the importance of strong wheels, especially when we're hitting some big jumps. We need that confidence, the spokes are never coming loose. Absolutely perfect. If we go to the front of the bike, we've got the lovely Talon carbon disc guard here. We know the importance of those to make sure there's no damage to the disc. Peace of mind basically. That's enough messing around, having a bit of fun. Let's see how fast I can actually go on this bike now. So I'm still racing from time to time. It all started from a message with Mark Williams. Rod at Anwick Car Sales provided the bike for us, a massive help for this year. And then some really loyal long-term sponsors like a Pico, Fast MX, Moto Verde, just to name a few, okay, supported us in what we're doing. We get a lot of help from Talon. You've already seen the beautiful wheels. We've got Judd Racing, that's a new one for this year. KTM dealership in Nottingham. Absolutely massive support to us this year. They've just recently rebuilt the engine for us. And then we've got some new ones as well. Turtle Tuning, a friend of mine up north. And yeah, Field Engineering helps me with changing tyres, and everyone's coming together. Great atmosphere, great people, keeping it fun, and that's what it's all about. So the lap time's in, it was a 1:38.51, that's close to 6 seconds faster than the 500s. Kind of can see why, with the modern suspension brakes on a modern track. We're going to use that as a baseline to some future bikes. We've got some 2-strokes coming up, some old 2-strokes, some old 4-strokes. If there's anything you'd like to see me ride, if you've got anything back at home that you want us to hop on and give it a go, drop a message in the comments, let's see what you've got. And we'll just keep sending out these episodes.